For those of you who know my wife, you'll know that she enjoys getting into trouble herself. So I'm quite used to this.
After I spoke to him, I was like, oh, Candace has no chance. She's going to become a Catholic.
You've known Andrew Tate for a number of years. You were just with him for that interview, which is controversial in some circles. Why is it that Andrew Tate has captured so much attention? What void was there that he stepped into?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've known Andrew for many, many years. I've known Andrew since before Andrew was Andrew. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I've known Andrew since before he was famous, I guess. Andrew is a great guy. He really is, and he's a wonderful guy in many ways. Like all humans, he's flawed, and I actually think that he would probably be off camera. I think he would be the first person to admit that. Like he's a flawed human being.
When we talk about him crossing professional landscapes, there is a personal landscape we are quite interested in, and the world has been very, very much in tuned, wanting to know the backbone of that friendship. That is his crossing paths with the Tate brothers. One of the more eyebrow-raising elements of Farmer's public life is his association with Andrew and Tristan Tate. Known for their controversial online presence and polarizing views, the Tate brothers occupy a very different cultural space than Farmer's faith-driven and Oxford-educated image. In my last video, where I spoke about George Farmer and Candace Owens, whether one is a puppet and the other is a master, you have to watch that video. I had a wonderful theory about the relationship between Andrew Tate, Candace Owens, George Farmer, and one of them is a master and the others are products. If you want to see that theory, please go watch my previous video. I'll link it below. Yet, Farmer's engagement with them reflects a nuanced pragmatism, whether through shared theological discussions, overlapping networks in alternative media, or strategic influence. Farmer seems to approach the relationship with diplomacy and principle. Some observers might see tension here, a devout Catholic business associating with figures often as accused of misogyny and recklessness. Others might see strategic calculation, maintain connections without compromising his values. Regardless, these demonstrate Farmer's ability to navigate complex social landscapes while keeping his own grounding intact. And this is one thing that I always find interesting. Farmer said he knew Andrew Tate well before Andrew Tate became who Andrew Tate is. And sometimes I wonder if Andrew Tate is an actor. I mean, the Tate we know online is a persona, an actor that we don't know. And we might not know who he is really behind the scenes, because the association of someone like Candace Owens' husband to Andrew Tate and their closeness, there is a closeness there. There is a picture of Candace Owens in her office when the husband's picture, that picture has Andrew Tate and her husband, which means that's a close-knit relationship. And he himself has said with his mouth, he knew Andrew Tate before Andrew Tate became famous, and they have not got any ties with him. Candace will defend him before she defends herself. She flies to Romania to do interviews with him, and she always has this way of ignoring when he's lying, not pushing back when he tells something that she could really clearly say, but this is this. She just ignores it and moves on, and she accepts everything he says. You could look at her and think she's falling in love. Okay, allegedly. Let's move on.
Born at the age of 30.
Yep.
And people don't have that common sense to go, wait, that is quite strange. Why are they not able to just easily debunk this? And instead, you're going to call everyone else crazy. And the thing that should terrify people is the fact, which you describe it as the matrix, I think that actually is the right term, is that the matrix works overtime to make it seem as though the people who recognize the insanity, recognize the homosexuality, recognize the pedophilia are in fact the people that are crazy. Like it's a complete inversion of what's actually happening.
And the saddest thing is that it works. I mean, where did Macron even come from anyway? I remember that French election. I'm certainly no expert on French politics, but I remember he popped up out of nowhere, some globalist. He was a lawyer or a banker or something. They just put him up there and then he won. The last French election, Marine Le Pen was winning and then, she lost. It's like, are these elections even real anymore? Is anything even real anymore? I mean, I only have criminal cases in 3 countries currently. You may as well add France to the list, But I just don't believe any of it. And then Macron stands up there, and of course, he's complete globalist WEF. I remember his obsession with Merkel. Do you remember the way he used to stare at her?
Mm-hmm.
He used to stare at Merkel with adoring eyes. Very strange situation the French find themselves in. And when you point these things out, you point out that it's strange, right? You point out and say, look, this is unusual. Even if she is a woman, which is highly debatable. The fact that she's 30 years older and it's all just a bit weird. But if you want to mention these things, you're right. You're called a crazy conspiracy theorist because so many people are so desperate to conform. I came to this unfortunate realization recently, especially in light of the Kamala garbage.